Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so pleased to be joined by Petra today, Petra Stillman. She is a leadership mentor and an entrepreneur. She and her husband have been stationed in Europe for close to 12 years now. So I'm really excited to hear your story, Petra, because I think you're going to inspire a lot of military spouses who are frustrated because they're stationed overseas. So I'm hoping they recognize themselves in you and they get inspired. So welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to maybe help somebody.
I'm so glad to have you here. So, like I mentioned, I know a lot of spouses who found it frustrating to own and operate a business overseas. And, one of our mutual friends, Trish, she echoed this sentiment as well. Can you share some of the challenges you've experienced owning a business overseas as an active duty military spouse, then as a spouse of a retired member?
Well, here's the deal. We have been stationed in Stuttgart for close to 12 years. When I first arrived, I had not planned to be a business owner. It just kind of happened because my husband's work schedule, and we happened to have a first grader. So somebody had to be there for the kid. I started, having stories and this idea of creating a leadership book based upon a children's book, which was totally out there. Nobody had done this before because we have the leadership books, the 3 steps to whatever, but you never had anything with storytelling. You never had anything with just humor, poetry, lots of wisdom, simple graphics. And so in order for me to follow my dream of publishing that, I had to create my own publication company. Now, the only thing is I grew up in Germany, so I'm well aware of the customs and the language. However, I was in the banking system before and have never written anything or never published anything before. So therefore, total new field for me. So what I had to do, and the point is I would like to give the spouses, be teachable. You just don't know everything. Be teachable. Go to networking meetings. Get out of that box and feel uncomfortable on purpose. Trust me, there were so many times I was like, ooh, I have no clue what they're talking about. Just nod and wave and just, okay, and you catch on after a while because the learning curve is so great. And what I did, I connected then with the locals that already been in the business. Like, hey, can we go for a coffee? Hey, can you help me with this? So you build a network around your idea. Have I failed? Yes. Have I had the wrong business partners? Absolutely. Have I stopped? No. This is the big deal. No, I haven't stopped. Have I cried? Have I getting ready to just throw it out and quit? Yes, multiple times, but I'm glad I did not, because after 7 years of literally creating the Sandworm Principle, so you have the children's book, on top of that, the Sandworm Principle and a stuffed animal, which there's interviews out. You just Google me, how this all came to fruition. Literally, AFN interviews, German interviews, because it's such a unique concept. I have now my own teaching material. So when I speak at universities, at conference, I do leadership mentoring one-on-one. It's all based upon these books about human to human interaction, deep people knowledge that I received over this last years. And it's a unique take on something that in order to create, I had to have my own company. And it was scary, yes, but it was worth it.
No, I love this. And I love that you're so candid with us and really honest and a little vulnerable by telling us that, yeah, this involved skill sets that you didn't own, you didn't have. So you had to develop them. And I know that in our conversation that you credit mentors with keeping you sane and stable. How did you first connect and find them? Because I know a lot of spouses are like, you guys keep telling me about mentors. I don't even know where to start finding, looking for them. So how did you find yours?
I think it was natural for me. I wasn't looking for a mentor. I've been blessed with 2 people. I have a lot of people around me to rally. I have a very tight circle that keep me straight. There was one lady I met. She was my professor in my management leadership program, master's in Albuquerque. And I was like, when she walked in, I was like, she reminds me of my mom. I'm like, oh God, my mom was teaching the class. But anyhow, so we kind of, became friends. And, I have, even when I teach, I go like, I will not connect with you on a personal level unless we're done. Like the grades are in and everything. So after grades were in and I was done, we connected. And she literally for the last 16 years, Dr. Lynn Simpson has been, you know, like a voice of reasoning, a compassionate voice when I want to give up and throw stuff. And she's like, remember who you are, remember what you've done, I'm so proud of you. So that is that voice that always rails me in, like, I've known you now, you sat with your baby on your lap in my class because, you know, your husband was a commander, he was working, I had no babysitter. What are you going to do with the 9-month-old? Slap him in the hip, take him to your master's class, and nail the presentation. So that's the kind of stuff, that's how she knew me. She said, remember what you have gone through. Remember how far you've come, like, don't give up now. So that's one. And she and I would talk once in a while. I've seen us in Germany. It was really fun. Another one of my big mentors here, and I don't know if y'all know this, I love driving tractors. I love being out on the field, getting the hands dirty. Is Albrecht, but he passed away in 2022 of cancer. And he was the one, 8th grade education, taught me how to drive a tractor, owned this little farm here, but he was so stable. He was so loving. He loved me for me. It didn't matter if I came from the university, I came from whatever interview, TV station, it didn't matter. I'll just be like, Petra, the coffee's getting cold, come on over, we're having cake, and hurry up now. You know. And he was the one always sitting down with me at the barn. We had a little stack of like cold beverages in the back of the well. And then we would sit there at night, and I would do, you know, coach TED Talks and whatever. And actually he would listen to the side when we selected people, and he would always give me his own opinion. He's like, this is messed up, this guy's wrong. And I'm just like, you're absolutely right. So it was always this straightforward, uncandid, that is the truth. I do miss him. You know, he was the guy who would love to, you know, do crazy things like plant green chili here in the middle of Stuttgart, and that stuff grew. We roasted it on his grandmother's old washing machine with a barbecue on it. Don't ask. We had the greatest time. But I loved his innovation. I loved his creativity, yet his stableness, his friendship, and just his love for me as a person. You know, and just the support. So I dedicated the Sandworm Principle, the German version, because I translated it during the pandemic, to him and the green tractor, and he just broke out in tears. So I'm glad I got to do this before he passed away.
That's pretty awesome. And I can smell those green chilies now. I mean, there's nothing more beautiful than the smell of roasting hatch chilies.
Yeah.
And then to think about, like, I can't imagine what other people driving down the road in Stuttgart and smelling that were thinking, like, this is foreign to Germany. That's pretty cool. So back to a little bit something more serious. I have to admit that when I read your profile and I read about your decision to give up your career at Deutsche Bank, I was devastated for you. I don't even know you, and I was devastated for you. And I know there are a lot of people out there who are going to be able to relate, and they may find, and there might be other people who now find themselves at that crossroads, right? And I'm sure they'd love to know, like, how did you make peace with that decision?
When I met Gary, I was head of internal Eurocommunication for the entire Eurocom version, internal Eurocom version for the entire Eurocom version of the largest German bank. I was responsible for the entire internet. I was the only girl. I was the only girl with 25. Great perspective, you know, worked right on the CEO, wonderful, blah, blah, blah. However, I found the love of my life, and I knew Gary was my soulmate. So when he came and he waited for me a year, he put his job literally on hold, and asked for an extension. When he was picked to go to Seattle, then I knew I couldn't live without him. So I just knew, you know, I was just like, yeah, okay, forget it. Because I knew in my heart who I am as a person, my talents, my heart, you know, my drive to make a difference, to leave a place better than I found it. It didn't matter on location or a company or a corporation. It didn't matter. And, you know, Seattle, come on now. You know, Frankfurt, Twin Towers, Seattle's Pike Mart, come on. No, but I think it's about stepping outside the box. Was it scary? Yes. Was it a hard mind battle? Yes. Did my heart win? Yes. And I'm glad it did, because, you know, I'm okay with that. I would have never stepped out the box and experienced the things I got to experience, you know, being with him.
No, that's really cool. And that's a, you know, I like the way you phrased, you know, when we were talking earlier about it being a leap of faith, and it is. And I mean, I had to do the same thing related, and it was not fun. And someone asked me, like, how do you, you know, how did you manage that? And I'm like, oh, not well. Like I did not manage it well. I was very resentful. I wasn't as mentally stable as you are, Petra. I was pissed. But now with the benefit of hindsight, I am grateful for the opportunities that the Air Force provided our family and the opportunities for us to do it together that we wouldn't have had if I'd taken a different path. And so it's kind of interesting that, like your response to it was very different than mine. And then we both kind of got there in the end. But in the time but I think that's the lesson is we'll both get there in the end because you found a career for yourself, like something that might have been better than what you would have had if you'd stayed on your track. And I
Absolutely.
found a career for myself, but something that is very different from what I started to do. But we dealt with it differently. And so I think the only lesson is saying that is if somebody finds themselves at a crossroads out there, I hope they give themselves some grace that it will work out. However they choose to handle it, it will work out. But try to handle it Petra's way, because I think that's much healthier.
It was a rough way too, coming from the CEO board and being an officer spouse all of a sudden, and dealing with that, not having authority, you know what I'm saying, and being just the wife. And anyhow, you know how it is sometimes.
Yeah.
I ended up working out with the active duty at the end. It was just me, like, let's do something. Let's just encourage people. So that was my way of dealing. But it was rough. I can tell you that. It was rough about burnouts. It was rough about working yourself to death after 7 years of command. I burned out completely. And that is a thing, a lesson that I learned is just like listen to your body more than the demand, because Air Force or the Army, we're embedded right now with the Army, there's always a demand, and you quickly get voluntold. So yeah.
No, I love your attitude. So I think that's a natural segue to my next question is, we have some of your life lessons, but do you have any lessons from your leadership development background that you could share with military spouses looking to balance their career with their military lifestyle? I mean, we've touched on it a little bit, but I'd love to hear, like, within the scope of your work, do you have any advice for us?
Be honest, have integrity. I define integrity, let your words, your actions, and beliefs be the same. Because here's the deal, believe it or not, the truth, not your truth or my truth, but the truth will come forth. It's just like dropping something. It's gonna fall. It's not gonna float no matter how much you meditate or believe in it or whatever you do. You do you. But here's the deal. There's some principles. You turn on the light, darkness has to flee. So that's one thing. Do not be double-minded, double-faced. We need each other. We need each other. And that's one thing, is like just come together and know who you are and appreciate one another. Life is too short. And know that nobody is like you. That's one thing. You cannot copy me. I cannot copy you. I'm already taken. You're already taken. Let's appreciate each other. For a chance, let's stop this secret toxic competition. Let's talk that backbite. And this is what I'm saying. This is what keeps us together. And that's why I think Trish and I are still friends after 15 something years, when she tagged me for the interview. It's just like, I appreciate you and I cheer you on, sister, for whatever you're doing. I come on, do it. Nobody can do it like you, even though if we're so similar. It doesn't matter. Let's do something great together, because life is so short. Another thing is listen to your body, what I said before. I had a very bad burnout after Gary's third command. In the third command, squadron, group. Yet I taught still master classes. It's like, but I understand that I will never go to that place again. I had to learn that no is a complete sentence. A loving no, but I will not get voluntold again, because I've been doing, having a baby, running to my master's class, griddling up 6,000 pancakes all night, going back home, bam, 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 bam. And, we know as military spouses, we can push, we're tough. We're more resilient than the I think the civilian population. We're more agile. We get tagged. Oops, you're moving overseas. Whoop, you're gone. And I think we need to understand how strong we are as a community, and we need each other. We need to stand back to back and back each other's up instead of stabbing each other's back. Because what I always say, leadership starts with love, and love is kind. Love is long suffering. Love is there. I want to see you grow. I want to see you thrive. I want to see you, reach your potential, because your potential is different from mine and your purpose is different from mine. So knowing that there's no competition, that is just the most beautiful thing, because then we're free from that and go like, okay, what you got? How can I support you? How can I help you? I mean, help you for real. you know, and that is it. The honesty I think we're missing, because without trust and without integrity, there is no relationship possible. And that's the advice I can give you. Be honest, be truthful, have integrity, and just love your neighbor.
No, I love that because I think more than just lessons for leadership in the workplace, that applies to life as well, where, like how you live your life and how you run your business should be similar because it's
Absolutely.
your
Same.
personality. It was so inspirational, Petra. I love spending this time with you. Thank you so much. And
Mhm.
if you guys have a story to tell, I hope that you will also apply for, an interview because we would love to hear about your story and we'd love to, inspire our community with your words of wisdom. So thank you so much. And we will see you next week. Thanks, Petra.
Thank you. Bye.